kick down the outside, wins the Everest.
I'm Caroline Searcy. Welcome to a new week of Thoroughbreds Are Go, giving you great advice on caring for this remarkable breed away from the racetrack. Coming up on this week's show, we review the Australian Stud and Stable Staff Awards ceremony on the Gold Coast, where the love of the thoroughbred leads to some great opportunities for industry staff, in particular focusing on Victoria's Louise Abey, who won the Thoroughbred Care and Welfare Award. Also the thrilling Adelaide Equestrian Festival, featuring qualification for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, with a stack of thoroughbreds and thoroughbred crosses starring, including a 4-star win for elite competitor Shenae Lowings and her partner Sam Woods, also a thoroughbred devotee. And in Arrowfield Stud Strapper's story, we head to the outskirts of Sydney to hear about a Group 1 winning stallion who left a big impression on Cellbridge Farm's Barry Smith. That's all coming up this week on Thoroughbreds Are Go. The Australian Stud and Stable Staff Awards are into their 9th year, and it was my absolute honour to host the ceremony on the Gold Coast. The overall Thoroughbred Excellence Award winner was John Brady, or Crowie, from the Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott Stable, with the Thoroughbred Care and Welfare Award going to Victorian Thoroughbred retrainer Louise Abey.
And the winner is Mary O'Neill.
Throughout my whole career, I've always been very fortunate to work with some of the most good people, like really good, kind-hearted, hard-working, caring. So it's always great to be part of a team. Part of that kind of a team, we all work together, we all gel together, get the job done.
Dreams can come true. Kaylee Walsh, Fernrick Farm.
Mentor and teach a lot of young people. How exciting is that to you, to see you teach someone something and you see it just gel in their mind about the care of a thoroughbred?
I love it, I really do, because I think going forward in this industry we need the young people to come through and to learn. And you know, what I've learned from Podrick and Ray, and what I learn as well from the outside and going through in my studies, I can put into the industry and put into the younger generations. So to see them actually gel, you know, it's like weaning this year. I've loved it because I've gone, right, try this or try this, and this horse hasn't gelled with this, and all right, we'll try a different approach. And they've just got it, and I've loved it, and I've loved seeing, because you work with the horse, you know, and you have to be versatile with each horse. And I love it when the younger people it just clicks. It's just wonderful.
The winner is Emile Fredericks.
To gain their respect, to gain their trust in me, and then just to for them to believe in me, you know, like and try and learn from me. It's massive, you know, and for me, coming from South Africa, for me to come here and to, you know, try and teach this young staff here, not just, you know, on farm, but off farm too, it's unreal.
And it is Crowie.
Thank you.
It's great to see his passion that he's still got for the industry, and as he touched on himself, and Gabe made that point as well, he's a great mentor, inspiration to a lot of the people, the younger people, younger generation coming through. You know, the work ethic, it's the work ethic from a different era. The presentation, this is how Crowie would rock up to work most days.
Magnificent.
To do 5 boxes and 60 feeds. Again, that care, that level of detail and passion that you have for the horses.
To congratulate
James Green.
There are a lot of people in the industry that just love the animals and the racing side of things that motivate you, but My bosses, Dave and Rhiannon Wishaw, they've been the main ones. The passion and love they have for their business and what they do on farm is amazing, and yeah, they motivate me on a daily basis.
Sean is the lucky winner and he's part of Team Flemington.
In Victoria, we really have to take on that hands-on approach. As a foreman or whatever we may do, we have to cover every sort of area of the business. And safety is a major one, and anyone and most people here tonight know that running a business, we've got to keep our insurance down and all them sort of things, and we've got to train our staff up to be the best that they can be. So we really have to take charge of that early on when we recruit people and find the right people to be recruiting.
And the winner is Louise Abey from Abey Performance Horses.
Lou, congratulations, of course, winning the Thoroughbred Care and Welfare Award. It's a big national award, isn't it? I know obviously you're based in Victoria, but so important to showcase what you do.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's very. I'm quite overwhelmed, but I'm very honoured. This has been acknowledged, I guess. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about Abey Performance Horses, because you are an accredited Racing Victoria retrainer, but how do you actually sort of get all of that support from Racing Victoria? You've obviously had, success and been retraining horses for some time.
I've always had horses and I've always loved thoroughbreds from a very young age. I think my first thoroughbred I was 12 or 13, and I've stuck with the breed ever since. And the retraining, it's really built up over the last couple of years. We get horses from all different places, some direct from the trainers, some through different programs with Racing Victoria. We have some now that are coming through the RSPCA and Racing Victoria emergency aid programs, and then there's a big variety, a lot of small trainers, big trainers, but we love information. So when we get a horse straight from a trainer, we know its history, we know its story, and that helps us place it better.
Yeah,
and work with it better.
And the trainers have become a lot better, haven't they, in giving that information? I think owners and trainers have learned that you don't want to just have this horse off the track you know nothing about. They actually will give you more vet information and what its medical history has been, its veterinary history. That must help enormously.
Oh, hugely so, and information is power, and that's what we need. And some of the horses, they do, with a long racing history, they've got wear and tear. They're not going to suit high-level pursuits if we know that early. We've got a thoroughbred at the moment with the riding for disabled, which I think is amazing, and he's going really well. We would trial others for the mounted police. Some go on to be performance horses, some are therapy horses. There is such a big range of where they can go, and it's just, that assessment and that time to get them in those spots.
Well, I remember we did a story with you on Thoroughbreds a few years ago, and you had a couple of mares you'd brought out of paddocks and retrained and got them going, and they were going, one went to Centennial Park, but some people, they don't have to be competition horses, do they?
Oh no, and that's the thing, a very small percentage of the horses will be high-level competition horses, and a lot of them, they need to find, the right fit. That's our mission. But so many of them, they're doing lower level stuff, but they're still, providing their owner with a huge amount of joy, and they love them and they care for them, and it's an amazing outcome, and that's all we can hope for.
How do you manage it? Because they don't all go to the first home and they stay there. Because, is there a way of sort of educating equestrian people that, you can actually come back and ask questions or get help with those horses?
Yeah, this is a great point, and I think a huge amount has been done, and there's a lot more to do. The traceability and keeping in touch. We don't do thousands of horses, so I keep in touch and we check in with all of our horses, and we're realistic. Not every home is a forever home. If someone gets to a point a couple of years down the track, they're like, we need to rehome the horse, they'll let us know, and we support them along the way and that kind of thing. Same as, sometimes circumstances change and the horse needs to be sold on. Our aim is that they will have a value and they will go to another nice home, not get passed around in the lower end and through the auction sites and things like that. Horses that have a little bit of education and a bit of balance, and they can pick up both canter leads, they're quite easy for us. They will all have their quirks, they will all have their things, but the more education that's done at the start and done well, it gives the horse much better chance of having a long and nice future. And a lot of the big shows having off the track incentives, and I've seen a huge improvement from the start to now, and there's really good quality show jumping And it's come a long way, and I think people are seeking out thoroughbreds now. And if every big show jumping team had one thoroughbred on their truck, it would help showcase the breed, and it helps keep them out there, and it's a good thing.
You know, if we could just throw a bucket of money at this, what would be the biggest thing we could do to improve the lot of so many thousands of ex-race horses?
There needs to be more funding. The horses, they need more. They need a super fund. These horses that are this amazing sport, they need more and retirement. But the education to the public, the education to the people that are getting the horses, there needs to be a lot more there as well. Yeah, it's a complicated situation, and I think a lot of good things are being done, and I think there is a long way to go still.
Ladies and gentlemen, it'll come as no surprise, Gooree. Caught me by surprise. I didn't expect that, but as I said before, I've already thanked the one that put me in this position. And I'd just like to say good day to all the workers back home, because without them, I wouldn't be up here.
A wonderful evening, and make sure you nominate staff that you know in the thoroughbred industry for next year's Stud and Stable Staff Awards. Coming up after the break on Thoroughbreds Are Go, Thoroughbreds return to Victoria Park Racecourse in Adelaide in an elite 5-star event, and other classes featuring many thoroughbreds and thoroughbred crosses. The Adelaide Equestrian Festival, formerly the Adelaide International 3-day event, was held recently at Victoria Park Racecourse on the edge of the Adelaide CBD. Shane Rose and his part-thoroughbred Virgil won their way onto the Australian team for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games with a win in the 5-star, while Shenae Lowings and Sam Woods were amongst many competitors on good old Aussie thoroughbreds. Carleen, this is just wonderful, having a look at the Adelaide Equestrian Festival as it's now known. Of course, it is a 3-day event, but there's so much more going on for people from Adelaide, but also from interstate and around the world.
It is. It's so wonderful to be back in the parklands again. The Adelaide Equestrian Festival brings together a whole range of different activities. There's something here for absolutely everyone. But of course, the hero of the event is the 5-star, the Australian International 5-star event. It's only one of only 7 around the world, the only one in the Southern Hemisphere. It's an absolutely amazing event, and it's an Olympic qualifier. We've got Olympians riding here. It's just so exciting.
It is, and of course, Paris 24, you know, this is what a lot of these elite riders, and you know, there are thoroughbreds involved, which we'll talk about in a little while, but it's such a big incentive to do well here this year.
Absolutely, there's selectors here, and so this number of the riders are on their pathway to Paris, and this is a qualifying event for that that aim to get to the Olympics. So it's a very exciting event for the riders.
Well, I just love seeing horses back at Victoria Park, full stop, and the lovely old grandstand, and we're on basically the straight is where the main arena is as well. But tell us about the event, the setup. It's now obviously we're holding it in April, which is really great, beautiful weather, and of course the jumps are magnificent right through the parklands.
They are. Yes. Well, our course builder, Mike Etherington-Smith, wonderful man. He comes over from the UK to build our course for us, and so it's a spectacular course. You know, it's only 7 in the world at this level, and it's the only one in the Southern Hemisphere, as I said. It's absolutely incredible. And we have it here in Adelaide. It's the only one that's held in the heart of a city in the world. So it's a very, very special event.
It certainly is. And looking at the actual events and the thoroughbreds competing, I mean, we know Shane Rose, who's won here several times. He is really strong on his thoroughbreds. He has thoroughbred crosses here at the moment, but some young thoroughbreds coming through, but also at Sam Woods on cagey or cage fighter, Shenae Lowings on bold venture. It's really important. Are we seeing more thoroughbreds getting to this elite level?
Yes, we are, and thoroughbreds are ideal for this kind of competition. And for any sport horse, the thoroughbred's second life after racing can be assured. They are very, very talented animals. They can turn their hand to any discipline in the horse world, and it's a beautiful pathway for them to continue into a high level of elite competition and do so well.
We've heard people like, you know, Jade Finlay, or who obviously rides Warm Bloods, but they're watching the thoroughbred coming through, or Tim Boland or Shane himself. And it seems as if with more thoroughbreds going into junior competitions and a lot of shows, just people just getting them out to show jump or do some dressage, maybe not even elite eventing, but they sort of filter their way through, don't they?
They do. And there's a lot of people now who are adopting off the track racehorses, thoroughbreds, and bringing them through the competition pathway in the sport and world of equestrian. There's many disciplines in which they can excel. There's dressage, there's show jumping, and then of course there's the magnificent eventing, which is the triathlon of the horse world of equestrian. It means they have to be good at dressage, they have to be good at show jumping, and they have to be able to be really strong at cross country. And cross country is just the most exciting event. It's not a race, but it is an amazing feat of endurance and a feat of skill, and the partnership between the horse and rider is just something to behold.
It's fabulous to see a rider of your calibre here at the Adelaide 3-day event. Of course, we know that this is an international qualifier for Paris and all those sorts of things, but it's a really great equestrian festival, as they're now calling it, for so many horses and so many great riders.
Yeah, we're really lucky to be able to run an event here in Adelaide. Right in the city, it takes so much work, so many people behind it to make it happen, so we're really, really lucky as riders to be able to have an event here with such big atmosphere and such a great environment to experience as a rider and for the horses, so we're really lucky.
Well, we saw Bold Venture. We were here when you were doing the dressage earlier today. Tell me a bit about him, because all thoroughbreds have different personalities and so on, but he's so literally bold, isn't he? And he covers the ground so beautifully, but that's taken a lot of work.
Yeah, definitely. He's a pretty amazing horse, I must say. It hasn't been an easy road. Like, he still is very quirky. I got him off the track about 6 years ago. Went quite slowly with him at the start, and once I kind of got through to him and he trusted me and I trusted him, we've just kind of taken the reins together, I guess, and he's just excelling. He's very special.
Well, he's by Devaraja, so he's Sir Tristram line, and I've heard a lot of people in New Zealand where there are a lot more Sir Tristrams, Abeel line horses in a lot of equestrian fields, that there is something about them that actually makes them good. And they can be tough, they can be athletic, I guess he's sort of all of the above.
Yeah, well, the thing about thoroughbreds is that physically they have so much ability, they're so athletic, they've got the stamina, they've got the blood, which for eventing, we can gallop for 11 minutes in a 5-star track, and to have that blood behind you is a really good feeling. And you can get a thoroughbred with a very good brain that wants to do it. They're all very willing. It's whether you can find it in them, which you do. It's a pretty amazing feeling when you have a thoroughbred that loves it and wants to do the job.
Yeah, and they go forward. I mean, they've been taught right from birth to get moving and go forward. So that's a really positive thing for something like eventing, isn't it?
Definitely. That's a huge plus. A good first step. So they're a great breed. They're my favourite breed. I've had, my top horses have all been thoroughbreds, and this is the best one I've had yet. So it's exciting.
So the steps along the way to get a horse, a thoroughbred, to this sort of level. I mean, any horse needs a level of training, obviously, to get used to being in these boxes, strange places, tied up to trucks, all that sort of thing. Has it been any different, you know, with the thoroughbreds you've experienced, or they all just kind of get it, the penny drops?
They're all really different. I guess it depends on how they coped with the racing environment. Some come away from it and they have a rest and they're good to go. Some take a little bit of convincing that we're not here to run fast, we're here to do a bit of a job first. But at the end of the day, they're also willing and they seem to adjust. Some just take a bit longer than others.
And the fences here, I mean, all the fences at three-day events, when you're getting up to, you know, these sort of elite levels, they're all pretty extraordinary. But how does the thoroughbred brain kind of compute that?
Well, I think the basics are really important with any horse. So giving them a good experience in training as you're going up the grades and showing them all the different types of skinnies and angles and brushes. You've got to put that time in and do the training, but they're bred to run and go, so once you're out the start box, they're always thinking forward, and it's a great feeling. So if you've shown them all the lines that are out there before, then usually, if you ride it well, then they'll eat it up.
And you've obviously, you know, worked a lot through the years with Shane Rose as well, who's always been particularly keen on thoroughbreds. What makes you actually sort of start to work with thoroughbreds? Is it watching someone else doing it, or is it just you just like their brain and their physique?
Yeah, I love the thoroughbreds. I've always loved the thoroughbreds. It's a never-ending supply of thoroughbreds, really. So to go in there and work with so many horses, you kind of learn to read each different horse, which is really important. So that's probably a huge positive in working with the thoroughbreds.
KG took the lead, Mesmar the outside trying hard.
Sam, so tell us a little bit about Cage Fighter. Of course, races KG, but how did you come to have him?
So he came from Shane and Nikki and they gifted him to me as I worked quite hard for them. And he's come a long way since I've got him. He started quite low in the eventing levels. And now we're here at Adelaide 5-star, which is pretty cool to bring a thoroughbred to the pinnacle of my sport.
Yeah, what makes him so special? What makes him get to a 5-star level?
Definitely his will to just keep trying. He's such a trier. If I make a little mistake, he's always there just to help me out, or vice versa. His attitude to just keep on going and going and going, and that's definitely what we'll need tomorrow, going around that 11-minute track. Watching
some of the thoroughbreds here today, I reckon some of them are going to start building a bit of a profile of their own, regardless of who's riding them maybe, because people do like to see horses where there's sort of some connection from the past.
Yeah, definitely. A horse with a background's great, especially just to do something like racing and then change and just be able to pick it up and off they go. It's really cool.
Yeah, but are there more? Do you see more thoroughbreds coming in?
Definitely, I think so, yeah. The younger generations are starting to get off the trackers and bring them through, and yeah, it's good to see them out and about. It's great to see them have a second life, and they can do so well at this sport, and any sport really.
It is an old racetrack, Victoria Park. I wish it still was, but it's the ideal sort of venue for them too, isn't it? It's so open.
Yeah, it's great. There's going to be some good galloping. The ground's amazing. All the thoroughbreds should eat up tomorrow.
And there are a few other thoroughbreds too. Do you sort of stay in touch with Shane? I mean, obviously you're sort of travelling together, etc. But are you sort of all aware? Is he still sort of giving encouragement and sort of coaching or helping you?
Yeah, definitely. Shane's always there for me and Shenae. We're just recently renting a place off Shane as well to start our own business, breaking and pre-training just down the road from him. It's a great way to find the next one, that's for sure.
You know, people that are owning horses, what would you say to someone that, you know, I mean, they're not all going to be elite eventers, but to someone that's not sure what to do, they have a horse, they have a share in a horse, what would you suggest, you know, because the thrills when you see your horse compete in the equestrian world are just the same as watching them race.
I think it's really important that if you have a horse that finishes racing to look for a second life for it, because there are so many different types of disciplines. There's the dressage, there's show jumping, there's the 3-day eventing. Every horse will suit something outside of racing, so yeah, just keep on sending them to us.
And of course racing, we need to forge better links obviously between the equestrian world and the racing world. Racing SA are sponsoring this event, which is wonderful to see, but it's also about, I guess, people coming out to Victoria Park here year after year and seeing these thoroughbreds, you know, and all horses, but in particular promoting the fact thoroughbreds are here and that they are competing at this level, so that owners can maybe think, imagine if that was my ex-racehorse, and you can come and see it.
That's right, and imagine you could do it in your own backyard here in Australia. You can see your horse go from very junior levels of competition right through to the most elite level here in Adelaide. It's an absolutely amazing sport for beautiful, magnificent animals to have another life beyond their racing life.
CCI 4-star short, Shenae Lowings and Godolphin.
Such a fabulous event and great to see so many thoroughbreds competing at such an elite level. Coming up after the break, former Anthony Cummings stable staff member Barry Smith in Arrowfield Studs Strapper Stories.
The horse that stood out in my mind was a horse called Your Song. You know, we had him since he was a yearling. He came through. He was a very good 2-year-old, and every year he ran, he just raced at the highest level, and he was always a hard trier and a good doer, good horse to work with, good horse to train with, and had a lot of good memories with him.
Oh, it's a blitz. It's an absolute blitz. Your Song, 4 lengths reign affair.
So when he won that BTC Cup, you know, it was a great thrill for the stable. We've had a lot of success in Brisbane at the time and the years prior. So he just continued on from the good success the stable had up in Brisbane. So once he went to studs, you know, it was great to follow his prodigy. You know, from 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, they went on all sorts of tracks. And he was a real bread and butter stallion. You know, he could produce a good one, or midweeks, provincials, country, and he had a lot of support from all the trainers around the state. So it was really good to follow him. You could see horses on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or on a Saturday. So it was always good to see. It's been great recently having a son of his called Frosty Rocks here at Cellbridge Farm, who had quite a serious injury last year. And we gave him 12 months of rehab. He's recently been back to the trials. He's won 2 trials quite easily, and we're really looking forward to seeing him get to the races in the next week or 2. So he reminds me of Your Song. He's big, powerful, strong, and sometimes he has a mind of his own. He can be quite pushy, but he brings it to the racetrack and he tries his best, and that's what makes him so good. Yeah, and it's great to, you know, it just comes full circle when you see his sons and daughters coming through places like this, and it brings back some very good memories.
He's a magnificent looking colt, this bloke, isn't he?
A great story there from Barry Smith, and it shows that stable hands love their horses, whether they take them on themselves or follow their offspring on the track. That is Thoroughbreds Are Go for this week. Join me again next week as we cover the prestigious Sydney Royal Easter Show with some familiar racing names such as Corey Brown and Jeff Penzer, and some well-known thoroughbreds too. And Racing SA, a small jurisdiction, but as always punching above their weight with some great programs supporting thoroughbreds off the track. That's next week. I'm Caroline Searcy. I look forward to seeing you then.